going on, sports fans? Welcome to the first ever episode of Tiger Talks. I'm here with my co-host, Brace Mullet, who's a little afflicted by the weather today. Got some nasty storms rolling in, but, we're both, I feel like I can say this here, we're both really excited for the start of college football, the upcoming NFL season, and everything going on in the sports world right now.
Indeed. Coming off the little lull, end of summer sports lull, it's always good to have stuff coming back in.
Itching.
Yeah, it definitely did get caught in the rain today, but that's we won't let that stop us from having a good little sports talk. I'm very excited to be here.
So, to kick it off, I guess we'll start with where college football started. UF versus Utah, Thursday night football. Not something you usually see two big programs playing Thursday night under the lights in Utah, and Utah kind of went out and showed everybody what they were about. It wasn't like a dominant, insane win, but you've got a second-string quarterback who's played like no snaps at quarterback, and you go out, you beat a solid program. It was a nice little start to college football.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, U of F, of course, last couple of years having a couple big, really good schedules, a couple 12-0s, 13-1s, Utah rather.
Utah's had a good run.
Yeah, a couple, but definitely good to start off with a big win for them. I'm very excited for that fandom.
Yeah. And then, the big game, Primetime's first game coaching. I think he showed everybody, he's not just a personality. He's not a guy who shows up and is bringing in recruits because, I'm Deion Sanders. I have my name. And after a lot of people discredited the winning year at Jackson State because, lower level competition, goes out, gets it done, big win. What'd you think of that?
I thought it was really cool. I am a fan of Deion Sanders and his media presence, at least. And I think this win is just a great step in the right direction. Of course, TCU coming off the national championship appearance, and everybody, their whole team played great. Their offense was awesome. And it's this is probably the biggest win for the program in the past however many years.
Yeah, Oregon's coach went on record when Deion Sanders was talking and said, when was the last time you guys have ever done anything to affect the conference? I think this could be the year Colorado does something in the Pac-12.
Yeah, absolutely. Very exciting to see. And they're really good player who went both ways. That dude is electric.
Travis Hunter.
Yeah, that dude is awesome, and definitely will be a guy to watch in the future.
Yeah, they got a lot of young production. Dylan Edwards, running back, 4 touchdowns. He's a true freshman. He's younger than the both of us. And that makes me really sad, actually, that I'm here talking about him, and he's younger than me being talked about. But then, Travis Hunter, everybody knew the dude could ball, but he went out and he could ball. That pick he had, snatching that on the goal line, magnificent little play. And then Shedeur Sanders, that was a big question I feel like a lot of people had about this Colorado team was, is Shedeur actually good, or does Shedeur just play against bad teams? And I think at times, his stat line is a little fooling. He did get a lot of help from yards after catch by a lot of guys, but there were times where he showed that he's a top quarterback.
Absolutely. Very good, exciting game.
Very exciting.
Excited to see the future for Colorado.
For me, obviously, most exciting game of the weekend had to be Sunday night, Florida State LSU. That game had me shaking in my boots a little bit at halftime. Yeah. I was a little worried, Everything was slow, and then really that was the best win of week 1. That game, for anybody, from any standpoint, that was the best win. A number 8 team beating the number 5 team by 21. I guess maybe the Clemson loss and the Duke win is the best win, but either way, that was a great win. Seeing Jordan Travis get back to work, and then transfer Keon Coleman from Michigan State. Little Midwestern flair. That was awesome to see. 3 touchdowns. My dad was sending me very happy texts about that game.
Yeah, absolutely. Great win by the Seminoles. 2 historic programs. Always good to see them go at it. Always, great win.
Had to wake up the next morning and text my friend, "Go Tigers," just to really get under him there for a second.
Absolutely.
Then Clemson went out. That was, Did you see that game?
I
honestly didn't know there was Monday Night College Football this week and missed the Clemson loss, but from what I saw statistically, that was ugly.
Well, it's so funny. We were watching the LSU game, and someone was like, "Oh, was like just kind of whispered to me. It was like, yeah, Duke's definitely beating Clemson tomorrow, and I'm like, what are you talking about?
It's probably
It was Dawson, out of all
Really?
people, and he was so right. They went out there and just 21 point win, and that's just, geez, what a pretty big loss for Clemson.
I don't really know much about it. All I know is it's not a basketball game. Clemson shouldn't have lost to Duke that bad. I don't know. Maybe this is one of those years where Duke does kind of good, and maybe 9-3, 10-2 football team for some reason. But if you're a Tiger fan, which I don't think there are very many on this campus, but if you're out there, you've got to be nervous right now.
Yeah.
I mean, and then the other big highlight from the weekend was just the Heisman quarterbacks that everybody was like, these guys are going to be legit. A lot of them, they got it rolling. Drake May came out and helped UNC just dismantle South Carolina. I mean, that game was over second quarter. We were watching that. It's obviously fun to watch. I actually am not a huge UNC hater, kind of a UNC fan at times. So that was always good to see. And then Caleb Williams was Caleb Williams. We'll touch more on him in a bit when
dude is.
It's not, hey, I beat Nevada by six touchdowns. It'll be when he's going to be the number 1 overall draft pick.
I saw a Madden-esque clip of him just totally just running in circles, literally a 30-second play of him avoiding defenders, using screens, doing little juke moves, and then still completing the pass for kind of a comically short amount. But just he did not lose yards on that play when he definitely should have, when everyone else would have. That dude is unbelievable.
And I mean, everybody's excited for college football to get rolling, especially from my part of the globe. But what everybody in the Midwest has been jabbering about, got to be the start of the NFL season. I mean, Colts faithful are excited. Bears faithful are excited for some reason. People are ready for their favorite pro teams to come back.
Everybody's fantasy picks are locked in. Everybody's ready to go.
Yeah. Speaking of fantasy, actually, great segue. Some of my fantasy power players, a few guys who probably aren't really that under the radar because I didn't do a ton of fantasy research this year, but a few guys who, they're slipping through people's hands unless you're Kyle Sherman, who writes on an Excel spreadsheet, pick Jahmyr Gibbs second round. That made me super mad. But Jahmyr Gibbs, running back for the Lions, he's going to be a monster. I mean, they've been working him at all positions. They've liked him at receiver. They've liked him at running back. He's going to be a monster. Jerick McKinnon. My dad told me to pick Jerick McKinnon.
God listen to Dad.
Got to trust what Pop says. I mean,
he knows something we don't.
Pass catching back for a great offense in Kansas City. He's definitely going to be a monster. And then the last one I have is Quentin Johnston, rookie receiver out of TCU. Justin Herbert has always had kind of weapons, but weapons are 35-year-old Keenan Allen and 30-year-old Mike Williams, who miss about a season each combined. So he's finally got a guy who's got speed, he's got size. That'll be exciting to see. Who are some fantasy guys you're pumped up about, at least maybe even just on your team?
I don't. Well, as far as sleeper picks go, they're always impossible to pick. I would say some people I'm less hot on than most people are the Steelers. I feel like a lot of the Steelers guys Kenny Pickett and George Pickens, those guys. I feel like a lot of people are really high on them. And I'm not all the way in. Same with Najee Harris. He's getting picked a little too high.
I'm not in on the Steelers at all. Honestly.
Yeah. I know, I've just heard that some rumblings, and I don't know if I agree with that entirely. I'm kind of excited for the Jets in general, just kind of that squad. I saw a poll today where it's the NFL executive and some team members have Aaron Rodgers still as the 4th best quarterback in the NFL, which I don't know if I agree with, but I think that if that team goes off,
the darkness retreat changes a man.
Yeah,
darkness retreats really make you a great quarterback.
It really does. They really do. And so I'm excited for that team. There's just a lot of good young players. Hopefully Breece Hall bounces back. I don't know if I would pick him for your fantasy leagues because ACL, that's a pretty tough injury.
Dalvin Cook splitting carries with him now.
Yeah, I know, but as far as team success go, I don't know about fantasy, but those will be guys to watch for sure.
Yeah, actually, some teams who are maybe not hoping for success as much as they absolutely need to be a Super Bowl team this year, but some of the Super Bowl hopefuls I have written down here. I mean, the Miami Dolphins. They've invested a lot of capita into their roster at this moment, and they're not one of those urgent win now teams where it's like this year or next year or they're just completely cooked. But you got to think with everything they have, they've got to get going here in the next year or two. If they can't figure it out, start being a playoff caliber team that's making those runs, you got to get a little worried if you're a Dolphins fan like myself. And then the Eagles. That's a win now football team. That's a team.
They're good. They're really good.
That's a core that if you don't win with, they're gonna find somewhere that's gonna win with them. So, Eagles have got to win. I mean, obviously the Chiefs. The expectation is the Chiefs are a Super Bowl team every year at this point. For the last 4 years, they've been right there. Anything less probably disappoints the front office, Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes, every Chiefs fan who started rooting for the Chiefs in the last 6 years.
Every year.
Yeah. Anybody who has any football thoughts probably will be disappointed if the Chiefs are not Super Bowl caliber. And then two teams that I think are win now because they have to be, Buffalo Bills and the 49ers.
I would agree.
The Bills haven't been putting it down for long enough to where people are starting to call them into question as frauds, basically. I mean, the Bills look like frauds on paper. They tear up the regular season. They're monsters in the regular season. And then they show up to the second round of the AFC playoffs, lose by a field goal. Everybody's mad. Rinse and repeat. And then the 49ers.
Too talented.
Too talented. And, I mean, the 49ers just, they don't have, anything left anymore. Trey Lance is gone. This team basically wins this year, or Kyle Shanahan completely clears the roster and loses for 10 years. They have to win. I mean, we talked about some of this on the radio show with who we thought was going to do good this year, and those are teams that they got to figure it out.
But I bet they will, though. I have confidence in all of those teams to get 12, 13 wins. I think all of them have very winnable schedules too. I have faith in all those squads.
Squad that I don't think anybody has faith in is the Cardinals.
Yeah.
A team that's contractually obligated to field a football team this year.
Yep.
Cliff Kingsbury's. He's in lose now mode. That's not a thing you often see in the NFL.
No.
Is somebody that team is gunning for Caleb Williams at the #1 overall pick. That roster, it's bare bones. It's nearly talentless in most positions.
Not a lot to be excited about.
Yeah, if you're a Cardinals fan, go ahead and throw on the paper bag, mark 0-8. Maybe you'll pick up a win here or there, but it could be the first team to go 0-17. Take a lot of weight off the Browns.
Indeed.
How do you feel about the rookie quarterback class?
I think it'll be pretty exciting. I think Bryce Young is definitely a guy to watch. He has shown nothing but good stuff in college. He is
Apparently looked pretty good in the preseason.
Yeah, not a lot of pressure on him this year, which I think will be good, just to kind of get his feet wet. I think long term, I think he'll be awesome. C.J. Stroud is going to do he's just going to have a tough year because the Texans. It is what it is. But I think as far as just general other stats go, it's I think he'll be fine in the long term. He's got to get through this year. I mean, not both of them do. The Colts quarterback, Anthony Richardson, he'll be exciting. All the clips I've seen of him are super fun.
I actually saw a TikTok today about how it's comical how hard he is to sack. There's clips of him in college. He's running around. It looks like he's going 50% speed. Everybody else is trying their hardest, and they just fly right past him.
Yeah.
They just completely miss.
Yeah, he is super. He could be really, really awesome, but he also could be nothing.
I think both Richardson and Stroud are going to get off to slow starts this season. I mean, Stroud, they're both on rosters that are pretty meh, if not bad. And so I feel like they're going to get off to a bit of a slow start. Richardson's going to get off to a slower start than people think, just because I think people think the Colts are going to be better. and the Colts just it's not going to fix it right away. And then Stroud, that Texans roster, that Texans roster probably is worse than his Ohio State roster last year. So there's going to be a lot of growing pains for those two. And then the big one for me, I don't think Justin Fields makes the leap everybody thinks he does. I've seen clips of him throwing the football, and he's still obviously going to be an insane athlete, insane creator, but just outside of the having to throw, he just hasn't looked polished. It's not bad decision making. It's not that he can't throw hard. It's that when he gets his feet set, goes through his reads, he just doesn't have intermediate and short ball accuracy. And his receivers aren't good enough to make him have that accuracy.
Yeah, I feel like everybody is very gets caught up in the big moments for Justin Fields. He had some awesome plays last year, but as far as just consistency goes, and it just wasn't there. It was really people would get excited about him making a 100-yard run, but he'd wasn't last year the one where he had or the Bears at least had one of the worst passing offenses since the 60s or something, which is kind of a horrible sign.
Yeah. The Bears were not getting it done offensively last year, and I think using as a runner, I think he's awesome. I think as a play extender, he's awesome, and he shows those flashes, rolling out, scrambling away, and then finding a 30-yard downfield pass. But a lot of his preseason statistics are inflated by yards after the catch, or he's throwing into a broken play because he's been running for 2 minutes. I feel like he's
also preseason.
Yeah, the leap that he was expected to make, I don't think comes this year. And then moving to the MLB, America's pastime. The hometown Atlanta Braves are just killing it right now, batting monsters. What I've seen online, all 9 of their starters are over the league average in OPS, which is on base percentage plus slugging, which is some crazy math that I don't know how to do, but has to do with how many times you get on base in an at bat. Yeah, and then slugging's how many extra bases you get, and the league average is 7.730, and the Braves are all over that, which is just monstrous. And as much as I love them, if the Braves cheating scandal, I don't think would surprise anybody at this moment. If the Braves got caught cheating, nobody would look at it and be like, no way, they wouldn't do that, because the statistics are just insane. And it doesn't just stop there for the Braves. In the 3-headed NL Cy Young race, they've sent their own contributor. And Spencer Strider, he's a you ever seen clips of Spencer Strider? That's a strange dude. He's a vegan, and he started a Bernie Sanders fan club at Clemson.
Nice.
He's a strange guy, but he can throw a baseball. He leads the NL in innings pitched, in WHIP, which is walks plus hits over innings divided by innings pitched. So it's how many times you let a runner get on base in an inning. Also leads the leagues in strikeouts per 9 innings, so average strikeouts a game, and then strikeout to walk ratio. I think it was 5.0, so he's sitting down 5 batters before he walks one of them. And he also leads the league it's kind of a silly amount that he leads it in. He has 564 swinging strikes. The guy in second place, I saw this today on Twitter, and that's what prompted me to write this, actually, is the guy in second place is closer to 21st place in the league than he is to Spencer Strider. But his big flaw is a high ERA. He's giving you about 6-7 innings of work, 4 runs, and a bajillion strikeouts. And that's where the other 2 guys, Blake Snell of the San Diego Padres leads the league in ERA. He's giving up two runs a game while he's in. But he's bringing a high walk rate, and it's impossible to call with another guy. I think it's Justin Steele, who's the controlled pitcher. He's the middle ground between the 2. And so the 3 guys, they're all just hashing it out. But honestly, I I don't really follow baseball enough to know how much these numbers mean at this point. But always good to see, America's pastime picking back up. The pitch count or pitch clock, I think, has helped a lot. I don't know about you, but I've definitely watched a few more baseball games than I would have, because I just can't sit there and watch those 4-hour-long grind fests.
Yeah.
I mean, turn it over to you for the NBA. Your wheelhouse right there.
Yeah, a little hoop talk. Kind of a downtime for the NBA in general, but it's all right. There's still like the general off-season like talks or whatever. James Harden still isn't happy, but like
when was the last time James Harden was actually happy?
It's kind of what I was gonna say. It's like kind of who cares, It's like, like do good in the playoff game, and then we'll kind of start to care again. But at the same time, James Harden also is mega talented, so I don't know. Do with that information what you will. Dame Lillard is still trying to get to Miami, which
at all costs.
At all costs, which is like they just need to find a third team to get like a player that the Trailblazers would want, because just like it doesn't make sense to have Anthony Simons, Scoot, and Tyler Hero. Like that's just kind of such a weird trio there.
Plus they have don't they have Shaedon Sharp too?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how good he is at ball, but I know he can dunk.
That dude is athletic, and like in a couple of years he will be a great player, like a good player to have on your team at least. So I think that deal is probably could and will probably get done. I think it'll probably be in like December though, like after everybody realizes like, all right, we need to make a change. But I think it'll be that'll be exciting if that does happen. And I think if it does, then the Heat are like for real contenders in the East, like once again.
And while all these front offices are shopping around players, you got Jokic, not a care in the world about basketball.
Nope. NBA champion.
Won like a horse race.
Yep. He was jacked up about that.
I think he was actually happier about that than winning the finals. I mean.
Yeah. That dude is hilarious. He is the NBA probably is definitely the best player in the league, MVP favorite.
And just does not like basketball.
Nope. It's going to work for him. But I think the Spurs will be in like the 8-9 seed, like middle of the road, playoff road, like in the next couple years.
This is entirely off topic. I feel like it's fitting for the end of the show, though. I saw a tier list today, a guy made, and it was like every NFL starting quarterback. The top tier was like they create their own offense. The next tier is like aggressive pocket passers, and then like good pocket passers, and then system quarterbacks. Another one I didn't remember. And then the last one had one guy in it, and the tier was called known bad ball player. And it was just Baker Mayfield.
Oh, no. Baker Mayfield drive-by, foul ball.
The absolute stray for Baker there, just known bad at football.
Oh, no.
And I mean, I think that's all I got.
That's a good way to conclude.
A good way to kick off the start of a couple seasons. A little bit of a dry spell for us hockey fans and you basketball fans out there, but always good to have sports back.
A lot more to come, for sure.
Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you next time.